You play in Ottawa?
Yes.
So here's the thing. You watched it, I watched it, and we're all obsessed. Heated Rivalry is an absolute phenomenon, and when we were all at the cottage, your ears heard correctly. Ilya Rozanov is moving to Ottawa. So as someone who has lived in Ottawa for years, what better time to break down some of the best spots in the city for anyone who plans on making a trek up to the nation's capital on a Heated Rivalry binge, no matter the season. Consider this your own personal tour of Ottawa from your own personal Harris. This video is going to seem very sponsored because I'll be listing off some businesses and attractions throughout the city, but rest assured these are just personal recommendations. I'm not affiliated with any of these companies or their products. I have personally done or visited every single thing on this list, unless otherwise mentioned, so I'm just sharing what I've come to love about Shane Hollander's birthplace. I've gone ahead and ordered these in a list for easy jumping around. Look at me turning into a travel guide, but instead of the little red flag or a clipboard, I've got a Shane Hollander jersey and a dream. The first place you might want to check out is the Canadian Tire Centre. It's the big hockey arena, home of the Ottawa Senators. If you're here for the NHL, try to catch a game if you can. As you can see from the fact that I don't have any personal footage from the place, it's a bit of a trek from downtown Ottawa to the main location in Canada, so if you don't have a car you might struggle a bit without rideshare service or taxi. I'm unfortunately not a huge fan of the Senators myself for reasons, but to see the team that the Ottawa Centaurs are based on might be pretty high on your list. I wonder what the team will be called in the TV series. Unicorns? Soldiers? Owls? Leave your guess in the comments and we'll see who's right when the time comes. From September through April, the Sensplex, which is the facility that the Ottawa Senators use for practice, also offers free public skating. But if I'm not mistaken, you need to bring your own skates and such. Come for the hockey, otherwise I have a few more spots that might pique your interest. On a related note is TD Place, which is the home for both the OHL team, the Ottawa 6-7s, and the PWHL team, the Ottawa Charge. It's a little easier to get to, even if I don't have my own footage of this place either, and it can satisfy your hockey cravings. I definitely recommend to all Heated Rivalry fans to check out a hockey game of some kind at least once in your life, so pick the team or the location that you prefer and keep an eye on those game dates. Of course, the NHL season tends to run from October through April, but the OHL season usually runs September to March, and the PWHL tends to run November to April. If you're visiting outside of those months, you might need to get your hockey fix with some pre-recorded games on your hotel TV. This is also a great segue into our next spot, which is the Glebe. It's more of a neighborhood than a specific destination, but this is the area of the city that Harris Drover lives in throughout the book Role Model. It's got lots of places to eat, lots of places to sightsee, and the aforementioned TD Place is there too. Characters like Shane and Ilya probably live in different areas of the city, like closer to Canada for Ilya, but if you love Harris like I do, then you've got to check out his neighborhood. The Glebe is a pretty trendy place and has lots of really beautiful things to see, including walking paths, occasional farmers market, and it's super close on foot to a lot of other popular destinations we'll get to in a minute. The one thing I will mention is that the Glebe is not along the main train line, so you would want to look into rideshare or other transportation options, like public transit, if you're heading to the area. Lots of people say it's the highlight of Ottawa, and it's hard to blame them for thinking that. Harris loved living here, so I'm sure you'll love seeing it for yourself. Our first big touristy spot, you absolutely cannot make a trip up to Ottawa without visiting the Rideau Canal. In the summer or the warmer months, you can walk or bike along the canal and enjoy the incredible scenery, popping through some of the historic neighborhoods and a lot of the specific locations that we'll get into in a minute. It's scenic and one of the prettiest parts of the city for sure. But the real fun, especially for Heated Rivalry fans, comes in the winter months when the water has frozen over completely. For free, you can go down onto the ice and skate for yourself. And unlike some other spots, you can rent skates for a bit of a fee, so you don't have to worry about buying them or bringing them with you in your bags if you don't want to. Skating the canal is an absolute highlight of the season, and many characters in the series have talked about doing it or have done it on the page themselves, so you can't miss out. If you can't skate, don't worry. I'm pretty bad at it myself, and I still enjoy it. Even if it's just for a little bit, you should totally try it for yourself. If you see anyone in a Hollander jersey falling on his ass but still having the time of his life, it's probably me. While you're there, I also highly recommend trying a beaver tail, which is a pastry that is flat and oval-shaped like the tail of Canada's national animal. Personally, I'm a big fan of the one with the hazelnut spread and banana slices, but the one with cinnamon sugar is the real crowd pleaser. Pick one you like, grab some hot chocolate to go with it, and get skating. While we're on the topic of food, let's take a moment to mention ByWard Market. It can be a little pricey at some locations since it's definitely a touristy area, but lots of the independent cafes and bakeries will open up shop in ByWard, and it's also home to a lot of the most recognizable restaurants with some great patios and rooftops in the warmer months. This is also where you'll find the big Ottawa sign, so you can take a picture and prove you were here. One spot in ByWard that may be of interest to any Scott or Kip fans is Pure Juice Power Bar, a local family-owned store that has a blueberry and a banana smoothie, also called the Blue Moon, that will make you want to kiss a man on national TV. It's beautiful, first of all, but I've got to say it was a really solid price and it was absolutely delicious. The shop is not far from that Ottawa sign either, so you can order it and go put it in your picture, like I did. And if you're looking for local business for some postcards or other unique items, then Milk Shop is also in ByWard. It was opened by sisters who lived both in Ottawa and Montreal, which is very fitting for the Heated Rivalry intercity relationship. And they have some really unique items that you can keep as souvenirs for your travels. One of the highlights is the selection of art prints by local artist Tommy Lee, which feature a lot of the landmarks and iconic spots of Ottawa that you might see on your trip. Centretown is known as the quote-unquote gay village of Ottawa, and there's lots to love here. It's pretty central for most of the things on this list for one, so it might be a good place to look when you're trying to decide where to stay. Among other great spots, Centretown is also home to the In Bloom Tattoo Collective, which is a queer and trans-owned shop for anyone who feels like picking up a tourism tattoo or something to commemorate their love of the series. I had the opportunity to chat with the owner of the shop, Byron, and they were nothing but friendly and welcoming the entire time. Next time I get a tattoo, I will definitely be here. The building is fully accessible as well, and as you can see, it is super cozy. I've seen some great Heated Rivalry inspired tattoos all over social media, so if that's what you're looking for, then this is the place to do it. Note that if you do plan to do this, you should definitely contact the artists through their website in advance to make sure to arrange the visit ahead of time, as they have very limited availability for walk-ins. It's not specifically Heated Rivalry related, but you probably shouldn't visit Ottawa without at least seeing the Parliament buildings for yourself. It's in a really great location and super easy to get to from pretty much all of the areas on this list, so go check out the green roofs for yourself. You can bet it'll be some kind of establishing shot in the second season, so consider it preemptive location scouting. In the area around Parliament, there's also a ton of other landmarks, and a personal favorite of mine are the flagpoles with the different flags for the 13 provinces and territories of Canada. It's all very scenic. And if you've been keeping up with Heated Rivalry over on Threads, you're probably very familiar with Ottawa Tourism and the Ottawa Visitor Center, both of which are close by if you have any questions. It's a lesser talked about place, but I think that the Hintonburg neighborhood is a must-go place for Heated Rivalry fans for 3 specific reasons. First, there's the Spaniel's Tale, which is a local queer-owned bookstore. If you haven't bought the books, or you're just looking for a Heated Rivalry book to bring back as a souvenir, this is definitely the place to check out. If you happen to be in the area this September, I believe they're also holding a book launch for the new Game Changer book, Unrivaled, so definitely look into that if it sounds interesting to you. Maybe I'll see you there. Second, there's Maker House Co., which have tons of Canadian-made souvenirs and things that you can pick up. If you followed my advice and go to the Parliament buildings, Maker House actually has some pins and brooches that use metal from an old section of the Parliament building's roof, which is a really cool souvenir. I may or may not have 3. They've also got a ton of items that might remind you of Heated Rivalry's iconic moments, like cottage-themed puzzle books, journals, a slew of unique art, and a ton of Canada-themed coasters. Third, there's Art is in Bakery, which is a must for Heated Rivalry fans because they have an incredible tuna melt. It's not made by Ilya himself, but it's still pretty dang good. They also stock these city seltzers that were featured on the show by the Dominion Brewing Co., so if you want to try the same drink as Shane Hollander, then it's in the area. If I'm not mistaken, the drinks were very popular with the cast and crew during production, and for good reason. It's not far from either of the shops I mentioned in the Hintonburg neighborhood, and it's also pretty close to one of the major train and bus hubs in the city, so you shouldn't have to go too far out of your way to check it out. Just make sure you stay on the footpath from the station instead of the main street, or you might have to go around an extra block to get there. Also worth mentioning is the Hollander Gastropub just down the road, which might be a fun spot if you want to pop by and grab some food or take any pictures of the sign to represent Shane while you're here in his home city. Currently, the dine-in location is closed for renovations, but you can still order for pickup and delivery if you visit, and they're still not finished. I've never personally eaten there, but they do also have ginger ale, so make sure to get that for the full Shane Hollander experience if you do. Another spot for any fans of Kip, you can go to one of the best museums in the city and channel your inner art grad student. They have entire exhibits on Canadian art, including Indigenous Canadian art, so I definitely recommend seeing it for yourself. Even if you're not an art buff, it's pretty close to ByWard Market, and it's probably my favorite museum and gallery in the city. Just try not to run out of there as fast as you can, like Scott Hunter at the art show. If you're super into art, there's also the Ottawa Art Gallery not far from ByWard Market in the other direction. And they have stunning landscapes by the Group of Seven, which are some of the most famous and iconic Canadian painters. It's also free to enter, so if you're spending all your money on snacks and souvenirs, then you can still enjoy some of the most iconic Canadian art. Now, this might be a crazy recommendation, but it's very on brand. There are a few spots in Ottawa that you might be able to see or hear a loon. Also, did you know that a group of loons is called an asylum? Anyway, according to the Ottawa Field Naturalists Club, the red-throated loon can be spotted often on the river by Britannia Point in the very far west of Ottawa in October and November, though the common loon can also be spotted in most of the larger bodies of water like lakes or even the river, pretty much any time between April and October. I once saw a loon in the waves of Niagara Falls, just chilling while it got harassed by the mist and the wake from the boats, so you really can see them in all kinds of different places. Don't make it your only goal, but keep an eye out if you're by some water. If you're unlucky enough to go the whole time without seeing any, there's plenty of loon-themed merchandise at the stores I already mentioned, like hats at Maker House or card sets at Spaniel's Tail. As far as specific spots go, those 10 are my top ones for sure. If we're being seasonally specific, there are a few others though. In May, Ottawa hosts a tulip festival that is absolutely breathtaking. A little bit of a history lesson, but the royal family from the Netherlands came to Ottawa for safety during World War II, and one of their princesses, Princess Margaret, was actually born here. After Canada played a major role in liberating the Netherlands, the Dutch government sent over tulip bulbs as a gift. So now every year in May, we celebrate with a giant festival. Again, not specifically Heated Rivalry themed, but if you're in the city during the festival, it is a must-see. If you're not from Canada, then you might also get a kick out of the Canada Day celebrations in Ottawa on July 1st every year. As the capital city, you know it's going to have some of the biggest celebration. During the third week of August is Ottawa's Capital Pride, and I would bet money that there would be some sort of Heated Rivalry presence at the festivities this year. Of course, keep an eye out for anything that's announced, but if you're here in August, feel free to join in anyways and celebrate with everyone else. Plus, if you're in the Ottawa area in August, it's also a great time to start heading to an orchard, especially if you're a fan of Harris. The apple season in the area runs from around August to November, just in time for apple pie in the fall months. There are a few options in the Ottawa area, but they're more on the outside of the city proper, so you will want to think about transportation if that is on your bucket list. If you're visiting from outside the country, then I really recommend trying your best to experiment and taste as much of the Canadian cuisine as you can. Ottawa has a very big shawarma scene too, so if you're a fan, you should try that. You'll find poutine all over the city, even at fast food restaurants like McDonald's, so try that if you haven't before. I would argue the local restaurants do it better, but get it wherever you can. If you're into desserts, try a butter tart or an Nanaimo bar. I'm partial to Nanaimo bars myself, and you can get them at lots of bakeries and other shops all throughout the city. Just a heads up to check for allergens, since Nanaimo bars have coconut, and sometimes people will also add nuts to them. For snacks, definitely try the unique Canadian chip flavors like ketchup chips or dill pickle chips or all-dressed chips. Heavy on the all-dressed chips because they're actually delicious. Personally, I'm a fan of the regular ketchup and dill pickle chips, but if you're trying all-dressed, try to get the ones that are like the wavy kind. For any of you adults who want to try something fun, you should also try a Caesar. It's pretty much just a Bloody Mary, but it's got an extra ingredient in there that might surprise you. Spoiler alert, if you're allergic to shellfish, maybe sit this one out. If you know, you know. And of course, you can't visit Canada without trying Tim Hortons. If you're a Canadian visiting from another city, you can just ignore me, but for those of you foreign tourists, you should probably try the coffee named after one of our most famous hockey players. You can find a Timmy's, or more than one, in pretty much every single neighborhood. And if you don't drink coffee like me, try the Timbits. I wish they still made the Dutchy ones, but the chocolate and honey glazed will have to do. Another great one in the fall and winter is maple taffy, where they literally pour maple syrup out onto the snow and then roll it up for you. It sounds kinda gross, but I promise it's delicious and a great treat if you're out skating to pair with your beaver tail. There is actually a guided food tour available in Ottawa through C'est Bon, and they have self-guided versions available as well. I haven't done them myself, but it looks like they cover a ton of the specialties, so if you don't want to track them all down yourself, you can take a look at that. If you're not interested in any of the specific stores I mentioned, there's tons more to choose from, of course. Just wandering around any of the neighborhoods or the Rideau Centre or Bayshore Mall will give you a taste of how the locals shop. Keep an eye out for the rainbow registered businesses with the symbol in the window. Rainbow registered businesses are a national accreditation for 2S LGBTQ+ businesses, so you know that they have met national standards to keep customers feeling safe, welcomed, and accepted. And we wouldn't want to celebrate a heated rivalry without that, now would we? Lastly, don't be afraid to pop over to Quebec. You might have noticed when you look at the map, but Ottawa is actually right on the border to the province of Quebec and the city of Gatineau, so if you have a car or are renting one, then definitely explore some of the options on the other side since there's tons more that I did not mention here. They do speak French, yes, but don't let that scare you off. If you're feeling really bold, you might even bundle your Ottawa trip with a trip to Montreal, but that's a whole other topic for another day that I am unfortunately not qualified to speak on. Even with this jersey, I'm a faker, I guess. If you're looking for places to stay in Ottawa, I would probably recommend something in the Glebe or Centretown just because it's quite central and really pretty, but keep in mind that a lot of what I had on the list is along the O train, which is towards the north side of most of these neighborhoods, along the river. Ottawa has buses as well, but I personally prefer walking on foot or using the O train, and it's easier if you're in a convenient neighborhood. The Ottawa Tourism page has some good recommendations for accommodation and otherwise, and they also have a bunch more spots I didn't mention if you're looking for a more comprehensive look at the capital city rather than something heated rivalry specific. They also have an event calendar so you can plan out specific dates based on when you come. And they've also been very active in the heated rivalry community over on Threads, so you know we can trust them on this. My recommendation would be to visit in the winter if you can swing it before the season ends, mostly for the skating and the heated rivalry of it all, but May is another top month for the Tulip Festival and the better weather, and August can be great because it overlaps with some solid events. There really isn't a bad month to visit, just depends on what you're looking to do, what kind of weather you can tolerate, and what you want to see. Whew, that was a big one. I hope you enjoyed this recommendation list, and if you have any specific questions, feel free to comment them down below and I will try my best to answer. Like I said, the Ottawa Tourism page is also a great resource, so when in doubt, you should definitely check out them. I'm just a heated rivalry fan trying to give back to my community. Which reminds me, we have some lovely people in the heated rivalry community from the Ottawa area as well. If you're looking to support some creators from this lovely city, be sure to check them out on all the platforms they're available. Julia Weber, aka Little Miss Ottawa over on Threads, also made a Heated Rivalry Ottawa guide and also included some of the same recommendations, so you know they are objectively correct. Feel free to drop a like and subscribe if this video was helpful to you. If you're looking for more Heated Rivalry content, I've got a video reviewing and recapping the entire first season, as well as a shorter one discussing my spoiler-free thoughts on the 6 books currently available in the series. I've got more coming up in the next few months, so be sure to keep an eye out for the Heated Rivalry content and another entry in the Teen Wolf Revisited series. I promise, it's on its way. Until next time.